Good day, podcast community. Pete Kane here, community coach and builder of communities. And we have two community people with us. And we have a live event coming up next weekend. So for those in the US, it's Memorial Day weekend. So it's a special weekend. And we have two people. One came off the golf course. Christine, I'm not sure where, but thank you too for being here. George will be here. I just want our viewers to get an idea of the type of people that are going to be at the event. So I'm going to do a quick plug, and then I want to ask y'all a few questions here. See if it works. Yes. Dang. Cool. Who is that guy? Holy mackerel. So our live event, we find that a lot of people are really good in their local community. They have a good reputation. They've done a lot of things, but the world changed, and now the world's, is a big place. And when people want to know more about a person, they'll look you up. So we want to make sure that people get to know you online. So we do these events to bring the speakers together, to connect people, and to allow people the joy of personal growth. That's why we want speakers like we have on the calendar, and like two of our speakers are here. And I'm going to ask them a few questions so you can get to know them better. And dang, three of us. I like this. Okay. So let's go first. Christine, I would love, because I know a little bit about your story, introduce yourself, and then I'd like to ask you a few questions and share with our viewers what they will be able to receive when they come or tune in on next Saturday.
You bet, Pete. Thanks so much for having me. Always a pleasure to be in your presence. I'm a nurse. Yeah, I've been a nurse for over 30 years, and half of that time was spent as the director of nursing of a skilled nursing facility. So I saw what happens when we take care of our brains and our bodies and when we don't. And I spent some amazing years, caring for the elderly and some of their most endearing times and some very devastating times as well. That was sort of my inspiration, I have to say, to help people get ahead of the curve when they have the opportunity, which is somewhere in midlife or wherever that may be for you today. Today's a great day to start. So taking care of the brain, focusing on brain health really has a trickle-down effect in every other area. And so when I left bedside nursing, I decided to get a holistic brain health coaching certification, as well as my dementia practitioner and some other things. So I'm really pulling together those years of experience and that inspiration from how I don't want people to end up, honestly, and giving you the tools that it takes to care for yourself. You start with your brain, your greatest asset, the CEO of your life, and it's in charge of your mood, your actions, your emotions, your thoughts, your movements. So why not start at the top?
Ooh, I love it. I unintentionally kind of leaned into brain health. It was about 4.5 years ago. When I had my stroke, I knew it was going to be a journey of rewiring my brain. So I was really intentionally leaning into what can I do to improve my chances? Well, what I did three things a few more, but three things that really made a difference. I started out in social media, I don't know, a lot of years ago. It was when Facebook just started. And so I knew about social media. But what I didn't know was that the brain has a tendency to be wired, because when we are on that excessively, which I think the average is spending 2.5 hours a day in America, we are wiring our brain for judgment, because we have to decide, do we like it? Do we comment on it? Do we share it? And so what it's doing is it's programming us. So I got off completely. I mean, if I spend 5 minutes on it, it's on LinkedIn looking for interesting guests. And my brain is so much healthier. I mean, my brother even commented, he goes, Pete, I think you're sharper after your stroke than you were before. And
Well,
I took that as a compliment. But the
100%.
other thing is, I wasn't a big drinker, but, I would, after golf, because Buck just came off the golf course, there was nothing better than having a few beers with the guys and just hot day drinking a few beers. It was so enjoyable. But I started studying the brain and I saw that alcohol does have an effect on the brain. So I gave up alcohol. And again, it helped me be more healthier. And the worst thing that I wanted to do is give up beers with the guys because it was just a social thing. But I found that and then nutrition wise, I have about 6 or 8 things I take all the time. What do you think is the biggest misconception when it comes about taking care of the brain that our viewers would go, dang, I didn't think about that?
Well, let's see. Where would I start? I think that people think that it's a major overhaul and that it's a very restrictive protocol and you have to train for a marathon and be perfect every day. And the truth is the brain really likes consistency over perfection and it likes to win versus lose. So if you can't get to the gym for an hour, but you still go for a 15-minute walk after dinner, your brain is happy. That counts as a win and it's a positive momentum moving forward. It likes that. And so I really believe that, small little micro habits really move the needle and you don't have to train for a marathon. You don't have to be so restrictive that you don't enjoy anything in life. I would say to the general public, if you do enjoy a beer once in a while with the guys after golf, there's an element of joy that needs to be present in life too. For you,
Yes.
it's personal
So
and you
neat.
feel better without it. But in general, my program is very much individual for each person. There's no blueprint for everybody that works for everyone. So I really do think that what's good for one is not necessarily good for another. And we know that, Keith, in just in medicine in general, right? Like how one medicine affects you. It's the same thing with your lifestyle habits, I believe. But simple wins are like hydration and just moving your body throughout the day consistently. A lot of us are at our computers and we work hard all day and thinking, this is great. We're working so hard, but honestly, it's not very good for your body to stare at the screen all day and to not be moving. You need that blood flow. You need to get up, get fresh air, get some vitamin D. So there's lots of things you can do for free, like staying off your phone and in the morning, at least 20 minutes when you wake up, maybe longer if you have that ability, but allowing your brain to wake up, setting yourself up for the day with positive thoughts and gratitude, telling yourself it's going to be a good day and letting your brain set its sights on that so it can take you there. It's like a vehicle. You tell it the destination and it will take you there. So if you wake up and immediately go to your phone and start scrolling and turning on the news, that's where you're headed.
That's so good.
So,
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you bet.
It's beautiful. Now, Buck, I know we share golf passion and we share Rotary together. Tell our viewers who you are, what you do, and what you'll be sharing at our event that would give them a little insight into the event.
I will do that in just a second, but I've got to say something because Christine brought this up.
Okay.
So I do a lot of stuff. One of the things I do, I sing in the church choir. And our church has developed a group of singers that go out to nursing homes, memory care units, retirement homes, and we sing to them, and we'll sing a variety of, we don't sing church music, we sing pop, Broadway, folk songs, rock and roll from the 60s. And when we go to the memory care units and you go in and you sit down in front of these 7, 8 to 15 people and it's like nobody's home. The lights are off. You're sitting there looking, staring out in space. But when we start singing, the light comes on to the point that some of them are singing the words with us. And
Yes.
it's incredible
Wow.
to see what music does to the people like that are having issues, dementia, whatever. So that was, I find that amazing. Every time we do it, I see it, I go, wow, this is really cool.
It
So,
is amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
yeah,
I experienced that over the years. Absolutely. We had, when iPods, I think it was called an iPod, the first little box that came out with music,
yeah,
we had some of our advanced dementia folks that were virtually non-communicating, like you said, and we got them a headset and a playlist that their family told us of all their favorite music, and they could be seen in their wheelchair singing,
yeah.
mouthing the words, moving their bodies, and I mean, it is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. Thank
So
you.
anyway, Pete, I'm sorry to get off track there, but I
Love that. I will amen to that, because I was in Overture and the average age was 80. But music, we would have people come in and just do music. That was the most popular thing for everybody. Everybody came out. They would dance. They would enjoy. They would sing. They do karaoke. So yes, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is one of the wonderful things that music can do for the brain and help us later in life.
Yeah. So anyway, so that was my sidebar. So I'm a guy that spent 40 years in corporate America. I traveled all over the world. I lived in California for 10 years. The rest of the time I was in Georgia. So I got to see a lot of things. But when I retired, one of my sons says, well, what are you going to do for the rest of your life now? And I said, well, I guess I'll figure that out. Well, a couple months after I retired, I was playing golf with a guy, and he says, you ever thought about being in Rotary? And I said, well, no, not really. I mean, I traveled all the time. I really didn't have time for Rotary. And he said, why don't you come to one of the meetings? So that was 10 years ago. And so 10 years later, now I'm involved in Rotary. And as Pete says, I'll be a district governor for one of the districts in the state of Georgia in the year 27, 28. So I've had a fast track on Rotary, and one of the things that I see in Rotary is it's a place to give back to the community, and it's people that got all kinds of talents to really give back and utilize their skill sets as whatever they are. They can be used in Rotary for the good of the community, and the community is local community, and it's the world. So it's not restricted by one particular area. And so it's been a really impressive time for me. I've really enjoyed it. The friendships that you make, they're all over the state. I haven't got to the world part yet, but I'm working on that. But you get involved with people, and the common good is, you're doing something good for your community. And I think that's important. One of the things that fits in well, I've also written 5 books, and the books are to me tell stories, because everybody's got stories to tell. And I find as I talk to people about books, because they all, well, how'd you get into writing books and why do you do it? And I says, well, everybody's got a story to tell. And if we don't write those stories down from generation to generation, they get lost. And so I think it's important to record the stories that you think are important, because we've all got stories to tell. And that's kind of when I get involved more with the Rotary, when I become the district governor, is I want us to tell our stories. What is Rotary doing, and what are we doing that can help us as we go forward? Because you can start at Rotary at one level, and by the time you get involved in it, you're going to be part of something that's much bigger than you ever thought it would be. And here's an example that Pete knows well. His club several years ago started Smoke on the Lake, and they have a barbecue contest up in Ackworth. Well, they have somewhere between 10 and 15,000 people attend this thing, and it's the whole community. It's the city of Ackworth. It's Cobb County. It's Rotarians from all over, and it's the people. And who would have ever thought 15 years ago that that'd be what it is today? But they're making a huge impact in that community because it brings them together. So those people that are in that Rotary Club and others, they get to be involved in something that they probably thought they never would be involved in. And that's just one example, and there's many, many more where Rotary gets involved and creates something involved with the whole community. So there's just a lot of ways you can go in Rotary, and the leadership that it offers and the friendships that it offers. So it's really, to me, a good opportunity to give back to your community. And we've all been blessed in certain areas, and this is one way that I like to get involved and give back to the community. So
That's awesome.
I love that. You know, I don't know who said it, but a speaker or a coach or whatever said, the quality of your life is the quality of your relationships. And you mentioned relationships early when you were talking. Tell me a little bit more about how relationships have impacted your second career or your next journey past your career that you spent 40 years doing.
Well, my father told me growing up, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I think there's a lot of value in that. And I'm a people person, so I like being around people and meeting new people and hearing their stories and learning from them. And then with those connections, you get people and you go, well, maybe this person can help me do this, or this person can help me do that, or I know somebody that's got a problem. Here's a case in point. Just this week, a friend of mine called me, his daughter called me, and he'd passed away several years ago. He was a World War II veteran, and she was going through his goods at his house and says, I found all this stuff about history during World War II, about these articles that he had collected. And there were newspapers that go back to 1942. And he had books and articles written and pictures. And she says, what do I do with all this stuff? So I went over there and looked at it, and we collected that information together. I went to the Marietta History Center and I said, can you do anything with this? And she says, no, but I've got some places that I can point you in that direction. So here I am helping somebody they're dealing with their father's things and finding a home for it. So, and that's because I made a connection with the History Museum when I was writing my books. And so they directed me in the direction where I can help these people find a home for something that shouldn't be thrown away. It should be preserved. So every day you can meet somebody and you kind of store that away and say, hey, I met somebody that can do that. And maybe that'll help somebody else down the road.
I love that. You know, when you started 10 years ago in Rotary, I've heard it many times that people join Rotary because, you know, maybe it was a person that they were working for said, you got to get involved in the community, or something happened that they just didn't voluntarily join, but they went in because they felt like that person wanted them to join. And then they say, like, when Rotary got in me, it all changed. How long did it take you for Rotary to kind of make that impact on you that kind of propelled your 10 years of growth in Rotary?
Well, I don't know the answer to that, but I'll tell you this. I think the first time I went to the meeting, I felt like this was a place for me. So, and I could see what the potential was, because there were 60 people there I didn't know. Now I know 60 new people, and they're all different from all different walks of life. So it gave me that opportunity to make those connections with those 60 some odd people. And that was just, again, I had the advantage of, I don't mind talking to a stranger and walking up and shaking somebody's hand and ask somebody, what do you do for a living? Because number one, I'm curious, and because I like to hear people talk about themselves and tell me what it was. So Rotary was one of those places where you had people that are kind of like-minded. They all wanted to do service. They were all community leaders in one aspect or other in their particular field. And so it was just a good place to get involved. And it's grown from there. And so I started with my club, and then I got involved with some of the other clubs around Cobb County. such as your club, Pete. And so I've gotten involved with them, and now I'm involved with other groups within the state. And now I'm also involved with some other states, so Florida and Tennessee and North and South Carolina. So, I'm reaching out, and I will be going to the international conference in Taipei in June, and I'll meet a whole new group of people there from all over the world. So
Wow.
it just kind of goes, it's whatever you really want to do. Rotary gives you the opportunity to go there. And, again, I like people. So I know people from my business career. I know people from literally all over the world. So now I'm going to take that and multiply that by being involved with Rotary. So,
That's so good.
it's as much as you want or as little as you want. It's up to you to decide what you want to do.
I'm from Richmond, and before I moved down here, and when I went back home to visit my mom at the time, I was at an event with some of my friends that said, I'm going to Rotary tomorrow. Anybody want to come with me? And at first they said, what's Rotary? And then all of a sudden, that next night I was with some friends, and the guy said, I'm going to Rotary tomorrow. I said, what? You're a Rotarian? And he was my college roommate, and he retired early, got really bored, and somebody invited him, a neighbor invited him to Rotary. And he was playing plenty of golf, but he got tired of playing 5 days a week golf. And now he's really involved in Rotary and doing unbelievably well, because I think that giving back makes a significant difference in how we feel, what we do, and the excitement we have for life. So that was cool. I have got another gentleman here, George Nesgoda. Yes, George is in
Hi,
the
Pete.
house.
How are you guys?
We're
Hi,
doing
George.
fantastic.
We're good,
We were
George.
around all kinds of good things. So I'm so glad you jumped in, because we were talking about your favorite subject, community and relationship.
Community relations. Yeah, I heard you guys. That's amazing.
I have to say this because we were talking a little bit about, our senior citizens, and just the ability to how music kind of brings people to life, and they just love music. And George has a talent like no other, because he deals with like emergencies, and they're like, say, fire, water, and everything kind of comes in on the house. And so usually the wife is dealing with trying to put the house back together again. They're dealing with people. And George has a unique talent. Anybody over 70 that's a female, George just connects with them because they trust him. And he's so fun and conversational. They immediately, and you got to do that. You got to get that trust in seconds, because, they don't know you from Adam, but they have to kind of find somebody that's going to help them navigate through the mess. So I did notice that, George. I had to bring that up. So George, tell our viewers, like, I call him my Superman, because he came in and rescued a water situation, and I was in a bad spot, 8:00 at night, and it was 10 degrees out. The guy that was fixing my door didn't do a good job, and the door was wide open. I called George. I said, I'm in trouble. I need you, brother. And he came out. So he was like, he didn't have a cape on, but I felt like he had a Superman cape on, because he came in, rescued the day, solved the problem, and then flew away. All right, George. I'm a little I'm glad you came. So tell our viewers, like, I know you're going to be speaking about Community Matters, but introduce yourself, and then just tell us a little bit about what you will share next Saturday.
So, just listening to you guys talk earlier, I'm George Nesgoda with Water Medics. We started a emergency service company in 2010, and we've been serving the Atlanta community since then, proudly, respectfully, and with passion. We love helping people, and And then when I first heard you guys talking about the Rotary, I would say maybe 30 years ago, I was working for a client. She was a insurance agent, and I was painting her house. She wanted her whole condo changed, and she kept telling me, I'm going to Rotary, and every week she was going to Rotary, and she had Rotary meetings, and I just found that amazing. That's kind of how you connect with your community. She was president of the Rotary where she was at, but she she got me interested in it, and then being with you guys, coming to that. But it's really important, like just being in front of other leaders, community, and people who also have passion for helping people. And that's kind of how we've generated our business, by getting out there, serving. You're helping people through challenging times. And sometimes we get insurance company to help pay for it. Sometimes people can't. They just have, so we have to be very creative. You have to work with everyone differently, and you have to be very caring. Like Pete said, you have people in their 70s. I mean, they need help. They're in a bad situation, and you have to respect them. It's like your grandparents, and you have to take care of them, and do what you can to make their life better. And you have to want to do that. And that's the kind of I put together. There's some people who have that initiative to go and help people, rescue them, make their life better, even if you put yours in not such a good situation.
Well, George, I can hook you right up with any Rotary Club in Georgia. Just let me know.
Hey, Buck, I've been working on him, and he has B&I the same day as our Thursday morning. So I've been working on him. I've gotten to a couple of socials, and so, but I can always use help. So,
so we either have to get Rotary or B&I to start later, one or the other. We got to move them around.
All right, we'll figure that one out. But I wanted to ask you a question, George, because we talked about relationships, and I know 4 of your team members, and I always like asking people questions, and so I would ask them when they were over doing the work at the house, what do they like about working with George? And it was a glowing conversation of respect. They loved working for you. They just have had more than good things to say. My question is, where did you develop that skill of relationships that you can kind of maybe put your finger on? Was there anything in your journey that sharpened that relationship skill?
So, it could have been, I was younger boy of 2 older sisters. They were really strict. It's like having 3 moms at home. That sure helped out a lot. And having a big family around, back when we were growing up, if your mom and dad weren't home, the neighbors will be watching you. There was relatives close by. So you always had people with their hands on you. Somebody always was close by to help raise you. So you're never left to learn on your own. And part of that was, growing up with grandparents, helping them and helping your relatives and helping neighbors, hey, go cut the neighbor's grass. Mr. Jack has hurt his foot. So you just learn how to do those things through your community and through the type of family you have. So I think having a good, strong family and community growing up really helped a lot.
Wow, that is so good. I'm going to do a commercial break right here. So for those that are wanting to get more, this is just 3 of our 12 speakers that will be speaking on Saturday morning at 9:00, right by Town Center Mall. It's called Grace Church. You can go to petekane.me/live. You can register, and there's a free gift for every single person that registered. Not only are you going to get good insights from our speakers. You're going to meet them. You're going to be able to build those relationships with the people in there. So just want to encourage people, share this with people you may know. And if you're in the Atlanta area or even in the Kennesaw or maybe up in Cartersville or some of the outskirts of Atlanta, it'll be worth your drive to be able to have a chance to see them in person and to be involved in people that are making an impact in their local community and around the globe. So thank you so much. I want to be respectful of your time, guys and girl. So thank you so much for being here. You can also scan this QR code, and it'll send you a page where you can register. It'll have all the directions. Thank you all for being here on Memorial Day weekend. We appreciate it. And thank you for taking the time to share with our community the reasons to come out next week. So
right.
Thank y'all. And well, let's do this.
Thank you, guys.
All right, before I go, what would be the one thing you could say to people that are on the fence about coming?
You have to, I mean, yeah. And if you're not involved in your community or with other business owners, I mean, that's how you build relationships. I mean, you know, the funny thing, the lady was on a few times ago when we were speaking, she owned the car wash. I actually, she partnered up with another company that I went to the car wash or I went to the oil change. They gave me a free car wash. I went over to her car wash and her employees, I've never been treated so well at a car wash. Very nice, very helpful. I mean, it was just amazing. But unless you're involved in meetings and meeting people like that, you won't get to experience those kind of things.
That's beautiful. And George talking about Glaze Car Wash on Wade Green Road and Brandy.
Exactly. Yep.
Actually, it was interesting, Buck, because she's been to the Rotary twice or three times, and she's now sitting down with our membership to kind of talk about what it looks like, what it would be like to be involved and expectations and stuff. So maybe that's really good. Thank you for bringing that up, George. Christine?
So amazingly, Pete, I've shared her story 3 times already in the last week. I've shared her story from Glaze. I'm like, golly, because I just remembered her story. It resonated, and I've told other people about it. I go, you guys really have to go check it out.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, she was at the last event, so that's what George was talking about. Christine, I'll let you finish up, and unless Buck has one more thing to share.
I'll let Christine have it. I'm sure she's got words of wisdom for us.
Yes, she does.
Not only do I need to come to a Rotary meeting, but I hope that you understand what you're speaking about, whether it's Rotary or community involvement and supporting each other. That is a prescription for aging well, and it's scientifically proven to reduce cognitive decline as you age. So you are taking not only care of your brain, but your heart and your community and the people that you're touching and sharing with. So thank you all for your service and everything that you do.
Thank you, Christine. That was beautifully well said. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you all for being with us. We appreciate it. Have a happy Memorial Day weekend, and we'll see you next Saturday.
See you next week.
Pete.
Take care.